You know, I always think about that picture where it looks like two people kissing or like a glass of champagne, like you know, like the flute. I'm so fascinated by perspective. Like adversity either crumbles you or becomes foundational to your success. You got your perspective. I just want to be helped. Your perspective. Well, I'll also tell you this, and this is something just at a much higher level. You find yourself in change positions because life is only change. There is no, it stops. Like, there's only one constant, that things are always changing. And so, you know, you may perceive them as not changing, but they're changing. Things are moving at all times. My grandmother is crying because of your lack of subscribing to my YouTube channel. Can't you just subscribe? Yeah. Too good. I don't have the key to the LA office.
Hi, my name is Matt Diavella. I directed the Netflix documentary Minimalism. I'm curious, for people who are trying to find meaning in life, to live a meaningful life, what would you say to them?
I think a couple things, you know, it's a very heavy question. I think people, first of all, have to give a lot more thought to the environment and the parents that raised them. There's a lot of answers in there, like a lot. So that's interesting to me. That's just one hot take. I believe one of the great ways to mix things up is what you listen to and who you surround yourself with. I'm unbelievably passionate about people finding more optimistic, practical friends. And I think optimism can slide into delusion, which is why I say optimistical, practical. You know? It's funny, as you were talking about minimalism, like it's so interesting that you're the first person to ever say it to me that I can recall, and it feels very real to me. Like, I don't have outside things kind of driving me, and that's what leads me to a lot of happiness. And so, I would say auditing your circle. Like, if somebody wants a meaningful life, live a meaningful life, just get happier. I think the people that you spend your time with is a big one. The amount of people listening right now who've got a mother who's super pessimistic and cynical, but they love their mother, and they don't realize that cutting down their time from 7 hours a week of engagement with their mother to 2, and adding, like going out of their way to seeing the person that's always smiling in the office and trying to spark up a friendship and become friends with that person, and cutting up that 7 hours a week from mom to 2 to mom, maybe 30 minutes with that person, and maybe reallocating the other hours to themselves or other things, is a massive deal. It's a massive deal. Like, there's only offense and defense. There's only the force and the dark side, right? And I think that right now a lot of people are choosing to be driven by fear and negativity without realizing it. And so if you're listening right now, my biggest thing is start leaning into a little bit more of optimism and positivity. I think where it overcorrects is when it goes into delusion, and that's when you start creating entitlement. And that is the tightrope that I've been talking about, thinking about, watching. And I create entitlement a lot of times because I like positivity. And it took me a little while, maybe 20 or 30 years, 20 years of operating and managing and parenting and being like, okay, I can see this, but I'm a product of not having entitlement.
Don't be hating on a real one, cause
I kind of fell into customizing all by accident. My cousin asked me if I could fix his shoes, did more research, saw that art was being done on shoes, and that's how I got to where I'm at today.
Like the consumerization of like America and like what people deem as success is something I've been thinking about a ton. Like it's super on my mind. Like there was no reason for you to having to go broke again. Yeah. It's just, you bought dumb. Yeah. Because that's the culture.
Yeah, I was young, dumb. I was seeing people do it, and I thought
totally understand.
Right. I wasn't worried about the next 10 steps ahead.
Of course not.
But I feel like everything that I've gone through to today has been very valuable in my success now.
Only because you've been able to build on top of it.
Absolutely.
Like adversity either crumbles you or becomes foundational to your success.
It's insane.
I always think about that picture where it looks like two people kissing or like a glass of champagne, like like the flute. I'm so fascinated by perspective. The amount of people who decide in your situation when you hurt your back that see, it was just about to get good, but God took it away from me and just give up is a lot.
Absolutely.
I mean that. And then people who like go into a wheelchair because they're paralyzed and decide that's the platform that they're gonna use to like change the world. I'm just so fascinated by perspective.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And then, I went through that. There
were literally people today, World Star picked up a clip that I posted about me doing a garage sale flip. How much are cars? Oh, sorry, 25 to 50?
25 to 50.
Got it, I was thinking way less.
For 10
Honestly,
bucks.
you gotta go up to 40.
I'll do that. I think it's fair.
Because they're hard to get rid of.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it, my man. Wish you well. Take care of yourself. Destroyed their faces. It's at least a hundo. And literally people are like going in there, and people going in there flaming me and saying, you're ripping people off. And I'm fascinated by perspective. Like I'm just fascinated by people's ability to deploy cynicism.
Good question, Gary. I'm 17 right now, out in LA interning for them.
Thanks.
I know my value. How do I make other people see it beyond the monetary gain, if there is none?
You just ask and you don't dwell on somebody not seeing it. It just becomes a matter of time. And if you don't feel like somebody's paying you or seeing the value, you just find the next person to have the conversation with. You know?
Yeah. All right.
You can't force somebody that you want to see something to see something. You either decide to stay the course and give a discount, and however you define the discount, because you want to do it for that person. Like if I want Mike Tyson to think I'm the coolest, then I can work for him for free for 5 years until he does, or I can be like, I'm gonna work for Evander Holyfield.
I got you.
Got it?
Yeah, you'll be seeing me soon.
Good man, take care.
My name is Kablito and I live in LA. I make music. Hi.
Good to see you. I'm so glad we made it. Sit. How you doing?
I'm good.
What's been going on? Seems like things are going well.
Things are going well. Working really hard.
Yep.
But things are well. I just been making music.
I'm aware. You don't make music in English? Because it naturally happens that way, or thoughtfully you wanted to go about it that way?
I thoughtfully wanted to go about it.
Got it.
Yeah. But also, and naturally, also, it's my first language.
Yeah, like if you go in a booth or if you like go musical, does it like you think in Spanish?
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to ask you that right away was it's kind of like, I think a lot of the reasons some of my content goes viral is because I think in Russian, and there's a lot of.
Are you Russian?
Yeah, I was born in Russia. Yeah, in Belarus specifically. And I think in Russian, and so a lot of sayings and things I think are I'm translating them from a Russian standpoint to English, and they haven't been said that way in English, even though they're things that,
Yeah.
Like my favorite saying that my grandma used to say was, you can't put your on 2 toilets, which was basically like, don't get stretched thin.
Yeah.
So like, when I like sometimes make content, I could say that and everyone's like, that's insane! But they just have never heard that, and that, like all these sayings in every language are the same, like trying to make the same point, but the analogies are different.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of my analogies are unique because I'm not well read and because I think in Russian. And so as I've been listening to your stuff and then just like hearing you talk right now, and I'm like, I wonder if she, when she's creative, thinks in Spanish, and that's why that happens.
I mean, definitely that's part of it, but also I definitely
Opportunity.
want to represent where I'm from.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
That's also another reason why.
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm basically at this point in my life and my career where it's like everything I've made, I've just made scrapped, just like out of my own pocket, like.
Yep.
I have a day job still. Like,
Yep. Work, save, invest in your career.
Exactly. But so I'm just like in that like we're talking to a couple labels, but like that hasn't happened, and we're taking our time with that. And I want to put some music out because I feel like
you want leverage.
The longer I wait, the more leverage I have.
100%.
The more I can ask for.
God willing, something gets crazy.
Yeah.
And pops, you got much more leverage.
Exactly. So
I understand.
Kinda,
that is the model.
Yeah, I'm just like.
That's the beauty of today's world.
I'm not signing anything until like.
You feel it.
I know my worth. And
yep.
Like, I feel like I'm worth more than what.
And you know what? And you know what's funny? Like a lot of times people are like, I know my worth. You're being actually more thoughtful than that. You're putting yourself in a position to allow the market to establish your worth.
Yeah.
Everybody knows their worth. The amount of there's millions of people running around saying, I know my worth, and never do anything because the market doesn't give them the leverage to create worth. What I like about what you're doing is you're not sitting in your room ideologically saying, I know my worth. You're putting in work to get money, to put yourself in a position.
Right.
You're doing it the right way.
Thank you.
No, it's real. I mean it. No, I mean it. I mean it. Like,
yeah.
I think I know my worth is like when people always say, like, I'm not willing to work for free. I know my worth. And I'm like, you have ego. Like you're building a foundation on humility. You're actually working. And I'm sure, I'm not sure, but I assume you need to have a job that gives you flexibility, so you're probably not making $1 billion a year.
No, I'm working part-time, and that's like
exactly.
Lucky, that what I found, the situation I found.
Yep, and so like, I just wish more youngsters would follow your blueprint. It's just entitlement. Everybody just decided they're the best rapper in the world, and they just leave comments on rappers' Instagrams and be like, you haven't heard me yet, I'm the best. Cool, show me.
People do it to me, and I'm
of course.
Like, what?
Like,
I'm like,
like it's called SoundCloud and Spotify. Like, you have distribution.
Yeah.
If you're so good, show me.
Exactly.
Everyone's talking. Good for you. It's exactly right. That's the way to do it. Every single artist in the world should build leverage.
I taught myself photography. In 2007, people started hiring me. So much so that by 2008, I was traveling the world.
Jasmine Star, nice to meet you.
Such a pleasure. Hello.
We actually met in May of 2017 at the 4Ds event. I have to say thank you because that event changed my life.
How so?
You inspired me to start something new in my business. And a couple months later, I launched a brand new product in my business, Social Curator, which is a monthly social media membership. And we provide 30 lifestyle photos, 30 caption templates to help people talk about their business without selling their business, and then an action plan in a community. And within 12 months, we created a 7-figure revenue stream in the business.
That's awesome.
We took what we learned, started applying it, and I just have to say thank you, because it's not about the business. Like, you empowered me to be me, so thank you. It's
You're
awesome.
welcome.
It's been awesome. So,
that makes me happy.
If that's all I get to say to you, like, it's totally worth it. So we currently have 6,000 members, and we're on trend to reach 10,000 by the end of 2018. And so we have a community, and I asked the community, hey, what would you guys like to see next? And the thing that we heard the most is that people want a social curator app, because I can see it, they want to remove the friction from taking the resources that we provide for them and pushing it to their social platforms. And then things got a little bit tricky, because when I started asking what features do you find the most valuable in an app if we were to create one, the number one thing was we want to organize, plan, and schedule our posts, but we want to use these resources. If I were to create an app that serviced their primary demands or requests, it would put me squarely in the organizational planning app space, which is a totally different business model than what I currently have. So my question to you is, if you were me, would you create the app? Or would you like triple down on the investment, the time and the cost to create an app that's a slightly different business model than what we currently have and puts us squarely in a different type of app space?
My first read is I'd probably consider to quadruple down on what's already working.
Okay.
And go from 6,000 to 60,000.
Yes.
And use that leverage of even 6,000 to probably JV with an organizing app that creates some sort of relationship.
Yeah.
I think that people need to be thoughtful about what they're good at, and then be even more thoughtful about what doesn't come as natural or what they may not be as interested in.
Focus on like.
I would say based on that, I would say consider finding an app partner that already does what you're thinking about building, and say to them, you call up Charlie and say, hey Charlie, I have 6,000 people paying me.
Yeah.
And they want this, I don't necessarily want to do it. How's your business going? You don't know what's out there. Do you know how many apps? I'll give you one. I would look at the bottom 50 apps in the space. I'll tell you why. They might have 30, you know how many app guys and girls are out there that make 600 apps? And this is one of them that they made, and they actually built a really good product, but they're focused on the one that popped, and you can like swoop up and take the technology for 5,000 bucks. Yeah. You have to explore. I think you should look at the bottom 50 apps.
I will.
I have a funny, I have a funny feeling. Think about it, right?
And you're saying to acquire?
You might be able to. Like if you think about it, it's you look at top 10, right? You go to, they have leverage because they're top 10 for a reason. Right. You go to number 83. Number 83 might be a better app than top 10. The person's just not working it. I'm unbelievably passionate about people finding more optimistic, practical friends. And I'm fascinated by perspective. Like I'm just fascinated by people's ability to deploy cynicism. And so like, I just wish more youngsters would follow your blueprint.